This is the stuff that you are absolutely obsessed with. This is the world that you're creating around yourself. No wonder the quality of masculinity within our society, fortification of individual character, and kind of like the perceived value of manhood is being drastically eroded away at. And one of my contentions is a good reflection of that is your continual obsession with these childlike expressions.
Anime can inspire creativity and encourage the development of critical thinking skills through its rich narratives and intricate character development. Universities have an ivory tower mentality, so they hesitate to teach anime because of the perception that it lacks academic rigor compared to traditional subjects. Bridging the gap between different forms of written literature and animated media, anime has the same laudable themes of overcoming adversity and speak to the human condition. But both of my parents, who are college professors, do not see it that way. They look down on anime. In order to combat this, my brother and I snuck into the professor's office and turned it into our podcast studio and filled it with manga and other anime items. Two, one.
So I don't know what your standard is, Nathaniel, for determining what's a good day or what's not. But for me, it's a good day. Because I have a cookie and you don't. It's chocolate chip and it looks delicious.
Are you saying it's a good day because it's a good day to be alive in, or are you saying that the day is good, making it a good day?
I have no idea. I mean, this chocolate chip cookie is making me happy right now. So go ahead. Just keep talking. I don't care.
Hobbit reference. Let's go.
That's like a quarter of the quote.
I know. I can't remember.
I think
the
you
rest of it.
misquoted too, but it's okay. You're just jealous you don't have a cookie.
I'm jealous I don't have a beard like Gandalf.
Like me?
Gandalf.
Anyway, so how you doing?
Good. Been a while.
It's not my fault. It's kind of funny. I actually want to give a little heads up to one of my students. I was leaving class today, and the reason we're shooting this to begin with is we actually have another episode that you guys have been working on and trying to figure out.
For a while.
Yeah, trying to figure out the logistics for. And then I'm leaving class today, and one of my students came up to me. He's like, "When are you gonna shoot another episode?" I'm like, "It's not on me. My sons are the ones that do it." He's like, "Well, tell them to hurry up and do an episode." So I walked in today. I'm like, "Hey, do another episode," and here we are. And I think we have something interesting to say, talk about today, don't you?
It's unique, all right.
Well, the thing is, I think we've gotten to a point, at least for myself, that I'm going from not knowing something to kind of not knowing something. Because going back to maybe last January when I started to jump into anime, reading for the past like 6 to 8 months doesn't make me by any means an expert. Everyone can have their opinions of exactly what they like and when they like. And I don't have any interest on studying in detail anime, manga, manhwa, just pretty much superficial, because I think the enjoyment would be having superficial conversations. But I am starting to see a lot more. I'm starting to see a lot more, which isn't that braggadocious, because I could probably go through like 10 whole kind of like books of any manga within a day, like easily. So any anime you want me to catch up on?
Oh, young Padawan.
Young Padawan.
Only 10 books.
Well, I can only take so much. I can only stomach so much.
Only 10.
It depends how fast the eyes are scanning the pages. So let me tell you this. If you go that quickly, are you sitting back and enjoying the art, or are you just like scanning through the pages?
You never read a manga one time. I read it like 5 times.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that how you would act with a pop-up book too? You like playing with pop-ups more than once? Is that what we're talking about?
Hey, I'll have you know, pop-up books are awesome.
I didn't say they weren't, but it doesn't make you intelligent because you read them.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Anyway, this is my point. I'm starting to see some manga with you, and usually I do understand. I do, and I think this is a consensus by a lot of people. I enjoy if it's watching anime. I like the subbed better than the dubbed. But a lot of the times I can't zone out if it's not dubbed, right? Because I'll be doing some grading, half paying attention with this kind of stuff, because I can't tell you how much of anime is just filler episodes.
Yep.
You know, there's nothing more exciting than in Hunter x Hunter to have that series within the Chimera Ants, or like 4 episodes of them just running upstairs. I was so shocked and excited to see that, man. Engaged the entire time. So if there's one thing that anime does very well is, first of all, expository context flashback episodes where you like kill yourself, just get back to the action.
Wait, what?
Well, I mean, the idea of like the character, usually when an anime character is about to die, even if it's a bad guy or anti-hero, right before the person dies, they like do a flashback to show that like they're actually sympathetic and like went through a bad situation. And so, yeah, they're about to die. And it's like the cheapest way to give the audience investment into caring that the character is about to get killed off.
That is true. You see that in more villains now in anime, that like they weren't really a bad guy. They were just trying to achieve like this good morale.
The guy's been terrible the entire season. And the last second, they're like, no, he lost his mom to like some demon slayer. You know what I mean? It's like,
actually the demon slayers are the good guys. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like in Naruto, there's a character called Pain, and he kills one of my favorite characters, like not brutally, but in one of the most sad ways. I'm not going to spoil it, but he kills him, and I'm like, the entire time, I'm like, why? I don't like this guy. When Naruto goes to confront him, he's like, I don't want to kill you. I'm not going to kill you. So the guy kills himself and revives everyone else. I'm like, he's right in front of you. Just raw Sengun.
So one of the things I would like to do now, since we're starting to go forward, is instead of like making this so formal, like Nietzsche and Solo Leveling, or Lord of the Flies and Dr. Stone, which we can do on and off, I just would like to sit back and give my own personal 2 cents on how I've been enjoying the anime or manga of reading, so I can complain like every other person on the internet that's sitting back and like, this is what I like and this is what I don't like. Because if you look at my list, I don't like much of it, okay? And there's so much to criticize about it. So,
great. My dad's become a Redditor.
Yeah. Hey, listen. If this is the level of quality that I have to engage with, might as well. So, for instance, I'll give you an example. I think we should start hitting things thematically. And I don't know if this stuff is covered like crazy online, and you can look at me, and when I introduce some of these topics, you can be like, oh, they talk about that all the time. But I don't think you guys do. I don't think that the people that are analyzing these anime go too far into the level of analysis. And the reason I can say that is because even at a superficial level, which is where I want to stick at, superficial, because everyone has their little farty opinions. That's what I want to do right now. So I have noticed in some of the anime that I've been watching, there are certain structures of storyline that are so strange to me. They're kind of like strange.
What do you mean?
I'll give you an example. Like, I'm going to give you a list of some of the anime on and off I've been watching, because I have to admit, I have to hand it to you. I appreciate my Crunchyroll kind of like subscription. I don't mind getting certain recommendations. Students were like, oh, you have to watch this. Or there's this one student I would like to hit later. Actually, it was an interesting anime I just started. It was Monster. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Monster? Oh, are you talking about Johann Liebert, the same guy who made 20th Century Boys? That guy?
I have no clue, but my students suggested I've 3 episodes in, and I think it's kind of interesting. I still want to see Steins Gate. I haven't seen Steins Gate yet.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
So the one thing about Steins Gate that I don't like is on Crunchyroll, it's subbed, and you cannot watch it subbed because everything is happening so fast and it's so complicated, you will not be able to.
Well, how about you work on your speed reading, okay?
No. But like still, the translation, like you can't directly translate Japanese to English. Then that's what makes it hard. I tried to watch it within the first 3 episodes. I was like, what is going on here?
Do you know how to pat your head and rub your stomach at the same time? It's like multitasking, so you can read and engage. Oh, pretty good. That's not too bad. Do the opposite. Tap your stomach and rub your head. Yeah, think it through. Okay, there you go. There's the coordination. Okay, but I'll give you an example. So on and off, I haven't seen all the episodes. So once again, I have no problem approaching this from a place of what I don't know, because me no care, okay? But I've been watching, what is it, Rise of the Shieldhero?
Oh, no.
Okay. What is it, rezero?
Rezero is actually really good.
Rezero. No, we'll talk about this in a second because there's a theme. What was another one? Sword Art Online. And there was one more. Oh my gosh. I should be really persnickety and agitated and miffed about a student that recommended that I see Rent-a-Girlfriend. Okay. I should have known just by the title what it was going to be about. And so I think a lot of times recommendations of what you should read or do is reflective of kind of like how much time I want to spend with you. So we'll get into that. And I think it would be thematically interesting to pursue.
Trying to think. I don't know what connects all of them.
Yeah, it's something that I don't see talked about too much. It's the concept of what you would call a harem anime.
Oh no.
Yeah, right. And it's such a strange pattern that you start to see in a lot of these things. Like you see this one protagonist guy that's being followed around by a group of girls, and as the storyline progresses and it keeps going, he keeps collecting them like cards. But this is what's interesting. This isn't like a romantic comedy or a romantic structured genre. It's very different, and it's a little bit on the weird side or a little bit on the mock kind of side where you can sit back and like, are you kidding me? If you were dealing with kind of like a romantic situation, guy meets girl, there's like a conflict, there is then an exaggeration or peak to that conflict, but then it gets resolved, it doesn't. If it gets resolved, then it's great. If it doesn't get resolved, it's a tragedy, whatever. But in the end, typically the idea is the development of this kind of like one guy, one girl. There could be a love triangle, there could be whatever. But when I talk about like harem anime, there's this guy that has a lot of perceived flaws. And the way that he comes over these flaws is he collects these girls like baseball cards. Like every single like episode or series or whatever, he overcomes something. There's like some, like I'll give you one like little trope. You have some Amazonian that all of a sudden he's fighting against and like she's misunderstood. And then when he conquers her, he acts like a gentleman. She's like, oh my gosh, there's a quality to you I didn't realize at the beginning. And then this is what really kind of like hits the genre in the dumbest kind of way. This guy is kind of like asexual. You know what I mean? On the whole.
Stoic.
Yeah, like for instance, like a girl's like, I love you. He's like, no.
No, I'm too good.
No, there's just so much more. Oh, yeah, of course, but of course, but
take
no.
that purity
Yes.
from you.
Not just that, but like, yes, but no. No, maybe no. Yeah, no. You know, kind of thing. So, and he's like, it's like almost like what he is wanting is this collection of girls to be sycophantic over him, and the pleasure he gets is in that rejection, but he still wants them to kind of like pursue him. They still wants to collect them as like slaves or bond slaves, or somehow they're like connected to him in some way. I'll give you an example of this. This is a bit of much of exaggeration. The one and the most obvious one of all the animes that I covered, and I would like to hit a couple today, that is like the most ridiculous form of this, which I am grateful, ungrateful, happy, and slightly miffed that I saw, is Rent-a-Girlfriend.
Rent-a-Girlfriend has slaves?
Dude, no. The one I was thinking was slaves, like the Shieldhero.
Oh,
like, you know,
okay.
they have like slave.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that in a second.
I get that one.
Yeah, so in Rent-a-Girlfriend, so what ends up happening is the main guy, Kazuya, gets like dumped at the beginning by like his girlfriend, name is like Mommy, and she like dumps him. And like she dumps him because he's a loser, okay? And his friends are geeks and kind of like losers. And so in order to save face, you think that he would either go cry his heart out, or he would like go and like work on his character, go hit the gym or pick up some skill. But instead he gets to this phone and he decides to rent a girlfriend. Loser move, you know what I mean? Kind of like it's kind of like soliciting prostitution without the, you know, kind of like whatever.
I think this is an actual thing in Japan you can do.
Actually, I think there is too.
Like you can actually
look in your phone and tell me what the name of it. Maybe it's just Rent a Girlfriend. Maybe it's just a culture thing. I'm missing the whole thing.
I'm pretty sure.
Anyway, his dream girl, his like ideal girl is Chizuru. She's like this gorgeous, smart, capable. She's going to be an actress. She's sweet. She's kind. Oh, and by the way, they happen to be dorm mates in the sense that they're living next to each other. Oh, and their grandmas love each other. And they're stuck in this crazy situation that like all of a sudden forces them together. Oh my gosh, this is a crazy. But that's not the problem. The conflict between Chizuru being good looking and Kazuna being a loser and whatever coming together, that's the typical storyline. But what ends up happening is other cute girls start to fall in love with Kazuya. Like there's this one girl, you know, her name is like Ruka, and she's kind of like, I love you, Kazuya. I can't do the anime voice as good as some people can. I love you, Kazuya.
You should be a voice actor.
Yeah, whatever. Leave me alone. And like she's good looking, she's smart, she's this, she's that, but she's not Chizuru. And so for no cause, Ruki is just so in love with Kazuya. You know what I mean? And it's not just that. There's another girl named Sumi. And then all of a sudden you throw Mommy back in there. It's this one crazy triangle where this guy is like walking around with all these hot girls that he has no interest in, and all these guys who don't know him are looking like, man, he's lucky to be with that hot girl. It's like, oh, please. I don't care.
Wait,
you know?
no, you can't really say that about Kazuya because he is actively trying to pursue a girl, Chizuru, right? Isn't he actively trying to pursue her and like?
Okay,
have
let
her
me put
as
it to
an
you this
actual
way:
girlfriend.
if Kazuya was pursuing Chizuru, and she isn't like accepting his solicitations, right, or his admiration, if you didn't throw these other girls in the mix, he is a creep, which is the majority of the structure of the time, right?
Mhm.
But the simple fact that other hot girls are interested in Kazuya, it makes his kind of like, how can I put it, sycophantic pursuit of her not as creepy, you know? And there's been moments where Kazuya will like be stalking her, you know? And then he'll do something where she's like, how dare you stalk me? But I guess, you know, that's okay. I'm like, in what world is that okay? If you go by just by the merits of what this kid is doing, like there's no redeemable quality to it whatsoever. If anything, like he would be probably stuck on a little predator list.
Yeah, I looked it up. You can actually rent a girlfriend in Japan.
Oh yeah?
Not for like sexual reasons, but just so she could have money person, I guess. We all know what Kanye West said, right?
No.
She's a gold digger.
Oh, yeah. But no, I guess, wait, no, it's not a gold digger in the sense of a gold digger has a sense of, what do you call it? Kind of like dishonest.
Yeah.
Kind of like almost like charlatan with,
Yeah,
like
but
they're pretending they love you, but they really want their money. Actually, I put rent a girlfriend completely on the onus on the guy because in the end, like if you get a girlfriend, one of the things that's difficult about it is they're expensive. You know,
Yeah,
you have to take them on dates. You have to pay for clothes. You have to pay for presents. But at least, you know, there's some kind of like benefit at the end. You get the relationship, you get the caring. Maybe it moves towards marriage, whatever that may be. But literally, when you rent a girlfriend, you're taking on the responsibility of losing your money for the sake of losing your money.
Well, the only thing I could think of renting a girlfriend would be, and I don't know if this is in the show or not. I haven't seen Rent a Girlfriend, but the only sense I could think of it is like if you bring her over to your parents to think your parents, so your parents think you're doing well. You know, those like tropes of, you're still single, you're not in like a committed relationship, right? Or like to show her off to your friends, I guess, maybe.
So like to deceive your parents.
Yeah, I
you know?
guess. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so yeah, it's a strange dynamic for sure. We're going to go into the social and cultural aspect of it with some of these practices in Japan. But this is the thing that I'm trying to get at. You know, have you ever heard of an ecchi? ECCHI, an ecchi?
I'm pretty sure I have.
Okay, ecchi is kind of interesting. It's kind of like the structure of a storyline that goes playful, flirtatious. It gets to the point of almost like to the point of a sexualized scenes. And this is going to be my main critique and my main problem with it. It gets to the point of a sexualized scene, but just stops before. There are some scenes, in my opinion, on Rent a Girlfriend that are completely inappropriate. Like completely to the point where it's pushing almost the pornographic. You know what I mean? And this is my main problem and critique with that goes back to the very first time that you and I sat down and talked. Okay? That this goes back to what I would consider to be unhealthy with this kind of consumption of anime. What was that word you brought up earlier? Otaku?
Otaku.
Right? Go ahead and explain to me what otaku is.
So an otaku basically is almost like a nerd super fan. They push other people away. Well, not push other people away. They just like are very obsessed over one topic or subject that they really, really, really know well, right? But one thing that otakus usually don't have is friends. So I wouldn't say they're pushing them away more as they just don't have them. They'd rather be focusing on their subject, the subject that they really, really like.
No, I think that explanation is fine. I would kind of supplement it to an extent. Once again, I haven't studied this closely. But otaku doesn't have to be primarily aimed at either manga or an anime. It could be anything. It's like a hobby that you're so invested in and so into it, you become almost antisocial.
Yeah.
Like you're consumed by that specific avocation or that hobby. A lot of times it is aligned and aimed towards the anime manga crowd. And so if you look at otaku, there's this level of being unhealthy to that extent. And this is my problem specifically because all of a sudden, if you had a hobby where you're collecting toy trains and doing tracks or playing with a drone or something like that, I'm like, you're kind of into fishing. I know plenty of guys that neglect their family and go do golf and do fishing. I'm not happy unless I'm fishing. Okay, yeah, that's not healthy, but you can kind of get that that's a hobby. the danger of the reflection within anime and manga, which was one of my primary criticisms at the very beginning, is going back to what I consider to be the Peter Pan syndrome. Okay? What it is doing, it is conflating the possibility of adult topics that's being delivered in the medium of a childlike expression, which is cartoons. We can get to the point to talk about what anime is a reflection of art. That's fine. You can even go to some anime, which we have a conversation later, that can be represented by high art. But when it comes to Rent-a-Girlfriend, I don't think anyone's going to make the argument that this is high art that we're talking about. Yet it's dealing with very specific adult themes, but it's shrouding it under the cover of a childlike expression, which goes very back to the Peter Pan syndrome. I can't tell you, I stopped watching To Rent a Girlfriend because as I was going through them, I'm like, freaking grow up. And I'm not talking about the main characters. I'm saying grown up to the people who are consuming this, because I seriously doubt that Rent-a-Girlfriend is aimed at an adolescent crowd. It's aimed at an older crowd, probably I would say high school and up. I would assume high school and up. And if you're someone who's consumed by this kind of anime and stuff, you will never have within your life a healthy relationship as demonstrated within this anime. It'll actually endumbrate and slow down your quality of maturation to actually have solid relationships later. So in my mind, when you're looking at this genre specifically of like harem anime, I think it's one of the lowest common denominators, and you see it consistently expressed in a lot of different animes. We can skip the obvious representation of Rent-a-Girlfriend and pick one of the other ones I've talked about. Shieldhero, same kind of trope. What is it, rezero? rezero. Same kind of trope. And then what was the third one I hit? The other one I hit?
It was rezero. Sword Art Online.
Sword Art Online, same thing. If anything, I would say Sword Art Online is the closest relationship to this, because it's all a subjective, synthetic reality that is just dipped in a puerile adolescent approach. Okay? There's this really interesting kind of like biblical concept. You know, it's one of those things that you try to emphasize when you're doing any kind of spiritual growth. And actually, a lot of people know this. It's in 1 Corinthians 13, but specifically verse 11. It says, when I was a child, I talked like a child, thought like a child, reasoned like a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. And even though I'm trying to very much be a good sport and recognizing your enjoyment of anime and your enjoyment of manga, it is very hard for me, the deeper that I get in to engaging in some of this stuff, to recognize that it's literally a retardation of maturating in a way that a guy should. Sword Art Online, ridiculous. Rent-a-Girlfriend, ridiculous. And this is your otaku?
Yeah.
This is the stuff that you are absolutely obsessed with? This is the world that you're creating around yourself? No wonder the quality of masculinity within our society, fortification of individual character, and kind of like the perceived value of manhood is being drastically eroded away at. And one of my contentions is a good reflection of that is your continual obsession with these childlike expressions.
Okay. We get it. You have bad relationship with this stuff for some reason. I don't know what it did to you, but dang, it must have been scarring.
What are you talking about?
Okay. Let's just dial it back a little bit, okay? Tone it down. We get it. You're angry. Angry little misunderstood boy.
I'm not angry. What are you talking about?
Misunderstood.
So if I say anything passionately, all of a sudden it comes across as angry?
No, but if you look like you're about to stand up and point your finger at me like this.
No, I'm not. I just have a very clear stance, because what happens is this entire time that we've been going through these podcasts, I've been trying to conciliate. I'm like, let me try to understand where Nathaniel is coming from. You know, it would make me happier if Nathaniel was reading some philosophy or reading some literature, but he always has a little manga in his hand. Let the little manga boy enjoy his manga and let me enter into that world, because the first episode that you and I ever had was just spend time with me and with manga. I'm like, okay, that's not a problem. Let me go and do that. And now, after a period of 8 months, I do have somewhat of a conclusion. That doesn't mean that I don't mind still engaging with manga and reading it. But what, all of a sudden I give a passionate critique, and now all of a sudden it like somehow harmed me and I'm like scarred by it?
Apparently.
Please. Dude, this stuff scars me in the same way that freaking Winnie the Pooh would be. So if you kept watching Winnie the Pooh over and over again, that doesn't mean that I have a necessary problem with Winnie the Pooh, but I'll have a concern with what you're consuming.
No, but What? Winnie the Pooh is awesome. What are you talking about?
What's your point?
So, well, first I wanted to say this. You're saying like all anime is bad. All people who love it and obsess over it is just like a child going through Peter Pan
if you
syndrome.
connect like unhealthy with bad, yeah, okay, sure.
Would you say that about the same type of person who would like do the same with golf? Like I love golf. Every Tuesday I go and golf.
You're a golf lover? Good for you.
Every Tuesday I go golf unless like something comes up, like my teacher's sick or
What's
something.
your handicap?
I'm not going into that, man.
Well, I thought you loved golf.
Okay, I'm not going into that. Stop going off topic.
Are you a putter or a chipper?
A driver.
Good for you.
Okay, but like I love golf. You're like you literally said I see a manga in Nathaniel's hand every day. You don't. I have sometimes.
Yeah, I'm being a little bit exaggerating, but I'm trying to push the point in order to push the point.
Yeah, I know. I get it. But what I'm asking is, would you say that I'm also an otaku for golf?
I don't know. Are you an otaku for golf? You don't seem too much of a recluse to me because you're pretty chitty.
Do you think that would be unhealthy if I had like?
Yeah, I get your point. So let's say all of a sudden, because otaku doesn't go just for manga and anime. So if there's anything that you engage in an avocation or as kind of like recreation that like makes you pull away from society, makes you pull away from family and just tunnel vision on that all the time, that would fall into otaku, yeah.
Aren't you like always saying I should give it 110%? Would that not fall?
Yeah, sure. But everything's balanced, dude. You want balance. So when I say 110%, that doesn't mean that all of a sudden you neglect your family, you neglect your studies. If you just did golf all day long, then that I don't think, I mean, everything's a balance. Make sure you're balancing things in your life. Enjoy golf, but golf is a game, you know?
Okay. Well, in Japan, otakus aren't just doing manga, or anime, or just focusing on one subject. They still keep their grades good sometimes, but they're not.
I think you're assuming. I don't think we've studied this cleanly enough or
too
deeply
much.
enough. Yeah.
But otaku's not really a bad term. It's more of like calling someone.
It sounds like a bad term to me.
It's like calling someone a nerd. That's it.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it's unhealthy. I think otaku gets to the point where it's unhealthy. It's not something that's beneficial. Now, of course, you can always structure the narrative to play it off as something beneficial, right? But I don't think inherently being tunnel vision on anything where it affects your relationships, affects the progression of your life, affects your work. In what world is that a good thing?
Okay.
I want you to be well-rounded, Nathaniel.
Okay, but like, let's say something happened to someone, okay, and this person's fallback is anime and manga. And because of that's their fallback, they just decide to space out from people a little bit, push them away, just because something happened.
Like what, transference?
No, I'm not talking about that.
Yeah, when something bad happens to you and all of a sudden you kind of like project onto something else to create a like false reality so you don't have to deal with your kind of like trauma.
Would you say that fallback is bad?
If you have trauma, yeah, it can be a reflection of that trauma. So if anything, let's say all of a sudden I have trauma and I start reading anime like crazy, then anime within itself is bad because it's a reflection of that trauma that I'm not dealing with. It's projecting, it's like running interference, all that kind of stuff.
So you're intentionally placing anime in a realm of like psychological hindrance. You're making it, you're like holding it up like it's this devil, we gotta destroy it. You literally just got
a little bit of histrionic, but what? Go ahead.
You got literally passionate about how anime is keeping us in this childlike state, right?
Yes.
Well, what I'm saying, do you know what what's it called? A hikikomori is?
No, don't.
A hikikomori basically is, it's like an otaku times 10. Instead of nerding out, though, they push people away even more than an otaku would. So what makes hikikomoris kind of, like, I wouldn't say worse, but different than otakus is they're usually isolated. Whereas otakus, they still go to school or whatever. They'll still go outside. Hikikomoris usually don't. They like bunker down in their room.
I think I remember hearing something about it. Actually, from one of my students, I was talking about this. I think they mentioned it the other day. No, this is kind of strange. It's like when someone completely withdraws from society.
100%.
Right. It's like a complete withdrawal. It's not partial. It's not unhealthy. So yeah, that's unhealthy. What's your point? I don't get it.
Well, Have you heard of this anime called Welcome to NHK? This is the best way I can structure it.
I surely haven't.
The entire thing is about this Hikikomori,
Mm-hmm.
right? And his name is Sato, I think it is. Maybe. Give me a minute. His name is Sato. And I'm gonna try my best to not spoil it like you did with Rent a Girlfriend.
I don't care. If I can convince someone not to watch Rent a Girlfriend, I've saved them time in their lives, okay?
Okay, but what happens is something happens to this guy and he decides to just completely withdraw. I have it written down. What makes this anime actually different compared to normal animes with otakus and stuff, like you were going over how you hated well, let me put it to you this way. You know what an isekai anime is, right? Where someone like dies or they get transported into another world, any of that.
Okay. Yeah.
So what happens is usually though the protagonist was Hikikomori or an otaku, just misunderstood, blah blah blah, all this stuff, hunkering down in the room. Then they got killed, and then boom, now they're in this magical world, a second chance. This anime makes you realize that you don't got a second chance. There's no magic school bus coming to hit you, and then you're gonna wake up in the world of fairies and dwarves, go on an epic adventure to slay the demon lord. The entire anime is more. Whereas those animes, Konosuba and stuff like that, they idolize otakus. This one is like a wake-up call. The plot of NHK is, what happens is the main character blames his misfortune on other things. He likes to blame it on other people. He even makes, He even makes an organization, a fake organization in his head called the NHC, just to have something to blame. So basically, while Sato's making up this entire fake organization to just blame all of his misfortune on, he comes across this girl named Masaki, and what she does is she forces him to sign a contract that says once a night, every night, he will go like to a random park with her or just someplace and do this mental rehab to try and improve his mental state. And I'm not going to say anything else on that. I don't want to give away too many spoilers.
Okay. Thank you for taking the time to give me that summary. What's your point?
My point is, your point was that anime is bad.
Are you talking about my point or your point or our points?
Well, I'm just
Are we
giving
pointing them at each other? I mean, what's the point?
Listen, Spider-Man, what I'm saying here is...
Hey, don't mix your genres, bro.
Spider-Man pointing me. Never mind.
Yeah.
Your point is anime is bad. What I'm saying is you're looking at examples of people who use anime in like a bad way, that they're mentally traumatized or something. I don't remember what it was, but they have something wrong in their head and they're using anime in a bad way. And you're pointing at them and saying, because they are doing that, all anime is bad. That's what you're saying. You're literally like...
Okay, I get what you're saying. I'm trying to keep up with your articulate explanation, and let me see if I get what you're saying. What you're pretty much saying is that my argument is that anime is bad and makes us puerile, is childish, and whoever reads it is not going to be as cognitively stimulating or beneficial. And what you're saying is that, no, I'm pointing to like situations like people who are hikikomori and saying, yeah, in certain situations that can be unhealthy, but that's in a given situation. So for instance, if anyone watches movies like crazy and nothing else, if anyone plays golf, like going back to the otaku, and does that and nothing else, that doesn't mean golf is bad. That doesn't mean movies are bad. That means
Exactly.
that the psychology is, there's an issue with that.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Decent point. I still have to disagree because let's create a comparative nature here. Okay. This is your point. You're saying hikikomori is one thing over here to the left. I'm saying Peter Pan syndrome is here on the right. Let's see if we can kind of agree that there's correlations with this, okay? So if you look at both of them, I guess it could be argued that both share psychological and similar behaviors, okay? So for instance, if you have someone who refuses to grow up, you would say that that's a psychological debilitation, yes?
Okay.
Someone who's not willing to mature, okay? My point is anyone who has an attraction to anime has a psychological debilitation if they're like grown up. Okay. I'll give you another example. No, actually, I won't give that example. Actually, no, I will, just so that I can give you a point. Do you know Star Wars, right? The first three that came out, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Okay. they are incredibly childish. You know, even when George Lucas was making the movie, and some of the actors like Alec Guinness, he's like, "Oh man, this is gonna bomb." You know, what do you call it? George Lucas actually went to Steven Spielberg and made a deal because he thought that Close Encounters was going to be the big movie and that Star Wars was going to crash, and they actually had a bet on it. You know, and George Lucas is still paying Steven Spielberg because he said that Close Encounters was going to do so much better than Star Wars. They knew it was childish. They knew it was puerile and it was for kids. Then all of a sudden, the new movies start to come out, right? The next three. And people start to get upset because they're like, you know, Jar Jar Binks is too childish. He's too cartoonish. And the response is like, yeah, Star Wars was meant for kids. And then all of a sudden people got upset that George Lucas was not tailoring Star Wars for their now mature taste. Now it's gotten to the point that these people, this like aggrandized, self-absorbed, narcissistic generation still wants to keep their childlike behavior, but have their adult rated R taste. Case in point, Deadpool and Wolverine. It is such a vulgar expression within the realm of Marvel Fantasy, and Marvel Fantasy was always meant to tailor to kids in comic books. But these people are growing up without reading Frankenstein, without reading Moby Dick, and they still want the puerile lessons to stay with them. They want to fall within that Peter Pan syndrome of being a kid forever when you don't realize that what you're putting on the altar of sacrifice are your relationships, is your family, are your responsibility, but most significantly is your purpose, because the whole function of literature is help to develop these ideas so that you can maturate as a person. I don't know in what world watching Rent-A-Girlfriend is going to help you maturate as an individual person. If anything, if you're an adult and you watch Rent-A-Girlfriend, I would make the argument that it's going to make you a worse person in any given relationship. What do you think, Nathaniel? Because remember, listen, if you look at Peter Pan syndrome, it tends to rely on other people. There's a limitation in emotional maturity. It hinders your relationship. These things are negative kind of like expressions of people who fail to mature in certain ways, which can closely relate to Hikikomori. If anything, I would say that even people who are so consumed, who are psychologically healthy, that become consumed within the world of anime, start to adumbrate. They start to minify. They start to pull away from society and the self and treating like that, childish expression to be something more, because they can't face the anxiety and the stress of real life big boy decisions. Because it's kind of interesting. Like I'll bring this in right now. Teaching a literature class, and we had just covered Frankenstein. And there's this, and I know I'm going to divagation, but you might find this interesting. There's this point where people were making the excuse, or my students were making the excuse, that the real victim here is the monster, that Frankenstein is actually the monster, right? And so there's nothing wrong with following that line of thinking, but what it ends up doing is justifying what the monster does within Frankenstein. Not to give any spoilers, but the monster kills multiple people. He kills a child. You know, he sets up a maid to take the fall, and she gets executed. He does some terrible things. And the argument, which follows kind of like a Rousseauian idea, is like, I would have been good if it wasn't for the way other people treated me. And because I was treated badly, because I was treated with some distaste, with such uncaringness, I became bad. And then you stop for a second and be like, in what world in this life are you guaranteed a comfortable, easy path? In what world do you get to sit back and have it good and comfortable? Is anyone going to argue that this life isn't hard, that people are going to maltreat you, that there is injustice, that things aren't fair? The laudability isn't the equity in it. The laudability isn't to be treated in kind. The laudability is to be treated terribly and still find a sense of maturation and be like, oh, look what I overcame within it. People who cannot handle the harder questions, the higher anxiety, the stresses, the pressures, the suffering will turn to something. And one of the quickest outlets or crutches out there, in my opinion, is?
I'm not going to say it.
Is, David?
Anime.
Manga, that's right.
Okay, but... So, Let me ask you this.
Yay escapism, yay fantasy, yay gaming, yay digital media, yay not spending any time with people, yay not talking to people, yay being in your own little world and dying alone. Hurrah.
So anyone who likes anime is doomed to die alone.
No, you
just
can
a
sit
bad
down and
person.
consume poison. That's fine. It won't kill you immediately, right? It takes time to develop diabetes, right? I think it was Victor Hugo that said men become accustomed to poison by degrees, and you can slowly consume it until you have a slow death and then nothing to show for it. I'm just saying that, yeah, there's different degrees where people engage with anime. I'm just saying to an extent, it's not very healthy. So, like, you can grab a pixie stick and, like, suck it down and enjoy it in the moment, but you can't live off it. You can't survive on it. So if you want it as an extension of mere kind of like entertainment, golf is mere entertainment, TV as mere entertainment, make it a small supplement because it's not very good for you.
And everyone, you're coming at me like everyone in the world who watches anime is only watching anime and doing nothing else with their life.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Then what are you saying?
Like, I'm simply saying that imagine grabbing, what do you call it? A big tablespoon of sugar.
Dude, you're literally criticizing
The
a
first
small
time-
portion of the anime community.
No, no. I am
Only,
calling the medium poisonous.
Okay, and only like 10% of them are like otakus. Only like 10% of the anime community are anime purists that are like, I love anime and nothing else. Over all the
Good for you,
or like
Nathaniel. I'm glad that you're
50%.
using percentages. Do you have any citations for those percentages?
Only like 50% of people are like casual watchers. They don't dive into it.
And do you know that only 40% of people actually watch romantic comedies, and actually 90% of people like horror? And I mean, well, I can throw away statistics for that.
Let me ask you this: Are you also going to tell me that cartoons are poison for kids too?
Huh?
Are cartoons poison for kids?
Yeah, I'd
too?
rather my kids actually read than watch cartoons.
Okay, then why do you let them?
Huh?
Why do you let them?
Because, like I said, a little supplement of things aren't the worst thing ever. You know?
But poison by degrees,
Yeah.
like Hugo said. So aren't you setting them up to want to watch anime later in life?
Okay, so if I had a better handle of things, I would agree that I wish I was a little bit more stringent with your siblings, which means when I go up to your brothers and sisters, I'm like, I am throwing away the TV because Nathaniel says I don't want to poison you by degrees. So that's going to make you quite popular in the household.
Let me ask you this really quick. You say that anime is an escapism?
Yes.
Which is worse, alcohol, like alcoholic abuse, drug abuse, or like anime?
No, I think heroin's worse, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So would you rather people watch anime to escape from reality or drink whiskey and get drunk or get high off of drugs?
Yeah, talking about going extremes, Nathaniel. I mean, let's go to the extreme.
You got passionate over it, man.
No, of course. I mean, you can get passionate about it too, but be
We
accurate
sat
within your
down today.
anecdotes.
We sat down today. I thought we were going to be talking about the weirdest subgenre of anime being harem animes and the asexual male of, no, I don't like women. I just like being around them. I like teasing them like that. And then you're like, come in here and start criticizing it up the wazoo.
Hey, wait. Let me get this straight. Am I only allowed to be on this podcast if I sit back and agree with you? If I sit back and play, like, conciliate to you, like, yeah, let's talk about it. Yeah, let's do a Nietzschean interpretation. You're telling me that I'm not for one episode allowed to come in here? I'm like, hey, can we stop the junk for a second and just be real? I can't be real with you on this?
No, you can. But then you had like this giant mood swing. We came in here.
I'm not mood swinging. I've actually been pretty consistent in my persnickety mood.
Yes. That entire rant about how anime is the worst and slowly.
It may have been a rant,
poisoning
but
all
I
of
thought
us.
it was structured pretty well. You know, I think at least there was logical consistency in a structure and form. I think it was rather deductive.
With a
I don't
tone
usually
like
talk
this.
With a tone like
during
this.
these conversations.
Yeah, let
but
David come into
Let me
this.
ask you a quick question.
Who, me?
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
So you say if someone is obsessed over anything, it's bad, right? What if someone was what was it? When you're like obsessed and not
Otaku.
otaku? What if you were a otaku or even worse about literature? You did not socialize, you do not do anything. You say literature is to make you better.
That, my friend,
But
is
what
an
if you
academic.
Don't
Well, now we're
talk
having
to anyone.
Now we're having a discussion of extremes, and that's fine. Yeah, anything in extreme is bad. Like, I'll give an example. Can you drink too much water and die?
Yes.
Sure. Can you eat too much food and die?
Yes.
Can you love too much that it's unhealthy?
I'm pretty sure.
Do you know what that's called?
Death.
Limerence. Anyway, just a little side note. Yeah, there's also a lot of things there that can be unhealthy depending on how you engage with them, how much. That's why I'm saying balance is important. So once again, this is my point. And let's try to show a little temperance here with this, and I can pull back for a second. If you're engaging in anime, that's fine. If you're reading manga, that's fine. By small percentages, by a little bit, balance things out. I think the end of my argument is balance things out better. This topic of anime, specifically this genre, when it comes to like harem anime, not a big fan.
I mean, going back to the thing you said, I guess your rant is a little bit justified. There is a like small percentage of people who are purists and are like, they say the anime name and the Japanese name. Jobless reincarnation becomes Mushiko Tensei or whatever you call it. They insist on everything being this way or that way. But majority of people are just casual anime watchers and do actually balance it out.
Okay.
What was that line you told me where it's like, it's a good servant but a terrible master?
Mm-hmm.
That can be said with like alcohol and also anime. It can be a good servant and a terrible master.
Yeah, sure. Once again, I think we're ending on the same thing, which is simply there should be a level of balance. But when anything comes unbalanced, you have certain issues. Whether you're talking about Hikikomori or you're talking about Peter Pan syndrome, if it gets to the point where you have an avoidance of adulthood or an avoidance of social integration, you should be able to see some aspects of it that are unhealthy. Like, for instance, right now, the whole reason why I engaged in this podcast is like, I'll read some anime and you'll read some literature, right?
Yeah.
So tell me the last literary book you read, bruh. What, Lord of the Flies? Lord of the Flies, so that we can do the podcast. Tell me the last literary book that you read on your own.
It was a little series called The Scythe. If you want to go back even more.
I don't even know what The Scythe is. How about something that is like within the canon genre of like quality American literature? You know?
What do you want? Pride and Prejudice? The last
That's not American. That's British.
Okay, C.S. Lewis's Narnia.
Aren't you a little old for that?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know what you want from
your
me.
freaking 10-year-old sister right now is reading Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah, I read it.
How about Lord of the Rings? That's fun.
I've been wanting to read that.
Yeah, you can read Lord of the Rings. Or The Hobbit.
Just
The Hobbit is nice and short.
Just promise no one will
interrupt me. The best part of the book is the Battle of the Five Armies. You know what I mean?
Just promise no one will
blink,
interrupt me.
Yeah, don't blink or you'll miss the battle. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, hey, listen. There's catharsis is beneficial. So if I came on here and was a little bit cathartic about my criticism, so be it. Whatever. As long as somewhat it was entertaining and engaging, I still think there's a validity to some of my arguments. I think there's a quality in my critique and my criticism about it. However, of course, shouldn't even my argument be kind of tempered and balanced? Fine. So I can take 2 steps back, but that doesn't mean that I'm not poking at something that tends to be or appear to be slightly rotten. But anyway, that's my little conclusion.
Okay. Well, if you'll excuse me.
You have anything to say, David, about this?
No, not really.
Really? Okay.
If you'll excuse me, I'm tired of you criticizing everything that has to do with Spider-Man and comics. I'm just going to drink my fruit punch and decide to be an otaku now.
Just remember, with great power comes great...
fruit punch.
No, read a better book, okay?
Oh, my bad.
Okay, Nathaniel. Remember, this was a little bit off the cuff, but the main reason that we were doing this was to make sure that we're at least posting something. So even if it's a little ranty, hopefully it was somewhat entertaining. I enjoyed talking to you, even though sometimes I wasn't quite sure what you were saying. I do think that you'll refine it in the future, so I look forward to that later.
Thank you guys so much for checking out my channel. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button, like, and share the video for more. And if you want to see more videos like this, hit the notification bell for more videos when they're uploaded. And so we can show our father that anime is worth his time.